Hi, Marianne Croce here from Small Biz Vantage and the creator of 3 Day Weekend System. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm glad to be here each and every week to do these lives. I call them Auto Shop Success in 15 minutes. And I do them for a couple of reasons. One of them is for you to be able to shift your perspective of your business, your auto shop, really turn it into your competitive edge. I find that many owners that I speak with, clients, are looking at their business very differently. They don't have time because they're so caught up and busy in the day to day to give it that 30,000 foot view, that different vantage, if you will. It actually is a competitive edge. Take 15 minutes a week to invest in yourself, in your business, in your team. It's so worth it. The second reason I do this is for you to be able to take one action item away each and every week. And the value of that is these small, consistent changes, small, consistent activities that you do can cause a ripple effect, make a big impact on the business. It doesn't take these big, massive changes. So I get a question often when I meet people at different events. Marianne, who do you work with? And I work with single location auto shop owners. I love that group. They're full of grit, they're full of drive. But again, they reach out to me because they really feel like their business is consuming them and they want to stop going 24/7. They actually want to have a life. And that's where I come in and I help. So let's get started. This week's topic is delegation that works. I've had many conversations with managers, owners, even people that are not necessarily a shop owner, but they're in the automotive space. And this is a common issue. Delegation isn't the problem. That's what I found. It's actually sticking with it. That's the issue because letting go is really hard. But here's the thing to keep in mind. If you're the only one who can do it, you're stuck doing it forever. That's the challenge if you're not able to delegate. So if you've ever handed off a task and then quietly you've taken it back, you're not alone. So today, what I really want to do is dive into why this happens and then share with you 5 mindset shifts that really help you delegate and actually stick with it. So let's get right into it. Why does delegation fail? So here's what happens. We get an idea. There's something that we want to take off our plate or something that we feel that is just too much for us to do. And we decide that we're going to delegate it. So we do. Something goes wrong. Something happens and it's not being done the way we like it, but our version of something goes wrong. And then what we do is we jump back in and then we own it again. We start thinking a lot of times that we're the only one that can do it right. And then we become the bottleneck again. We're back to square one. We're frustrated and we feel like it's very, very difficult to delegate. Has anyone had that happen to them? Put it in the comments. It happens and it really is common. So, a good thing to keep in mind is delegation isn't just about freeing up time. It's not only about taking things off your plate. If you shift your perspective, the way you look at it, it really is about letting go of daily control in a very smart, structured way. So you're actually gaining control of your business, the bigger picture, if you are willing to let go of some of the daily control. So let's get into these 5 mindset shifts that will really make a difference. The first one is good is better than perfect. This is a hard one, I know, in our industry. Here's the thing. They won't do it like you. You have to accept that. And sometimes what you'll notice is they'll come up with a better way. Your team will actually surprise you. And that's okay. That's okay if they don't do it like you. Let them learn, even if it's messy. What we don't want is people making the same mistakes over and over again, but we want them to learn. Perfection is not the goal. All of a sudden, the goal becomes growth. That's what becomes the goal. Very different perspective, very different way of looking at it. So I want to give you a couple examples. Your service advisor might not price out a job exactly the way you would, but in the end, it works. Your parts person might forget to double check availability before confirming with techs. These are things that you have to let them learn. If they forgot to add something to the job, okay, we can't let that happen again. But you didn't get it right on day one either. We have to remember as owners that we've made mistakes as well, and we survived them. The second one is focus on outcomes, but set standards, because we don't want it to be the wild, wild west. You're not letting your team just wing it. You're giving them ownership, but you're doing that within boundaries. And I want to give you an example. So let your service advisor decide how to handle follow-ups. You're going to let them decide how they're going to do it. But you want to be clear. Let them figure out how, but make sure they know what great still looks like. So I want to give you an example. Say you were to create something similar to this. All customers get a call the same day. So if a customer comes in and drops off a vehicle, if for whatever reason that vehicle was going to be delayed or it wasn't going to be finished that day, doesn't matter. It's easy to call them when the vehicle is going to be done and delivered for pickup. But what if it wasn't done that same day? They need a call the same day. So all customers get a call the same day. All notes need to be logged. We don't want it where you know the story. You're the only one that knows the story. And if someone else were to answer the phone for whatever reason, you had to leave early, that there aren't any notes in the system. So notes must be logged. And third, the tone stays professional. So your tone always stays professional. It doesn't matter if the customer, they're escalated, they're emotional. You don't go there. Your tone is professional. So those are just three I'm sharing with you as an example, but that's what you do. That's how you set up boundaries. And then you give them the freedom to figure out the how. Number three is feedback loops versus fixing everything. So what you're going to do is you're going to give feedback loops instead of going in and just jumping in and saving the day. So for an example, short check-ins with your team prevent things from derailing and really going off track. So a great way to do this is to go up to people periodically and check in with them. Hey, what's one challenge that you hit today? And they give you feedback on that. Or what do you need from me to move forward? If they're stuck with something, is there something that a resource, some type of tool, something that you use that you could give them to help them? That is much better than just going in and doing it on your own. 4 is delegation is development. So you're not offloading. I have a bunch of things. I'm just so overloaded with stuff. I just want to get things off my plate and give them to other people. When you think about delegating, it really is development. You're building future leaders. That's the whole point of delegating. That's how you stop being the go-to and you start being the owner. That's a really good mindset shift. Number 5, start small and stay consistent. Don't dump everything on someone. If you have 10 different things that you want to delegate, you don't do it all at once. You start with one task and you build from there. And I would say use low risk tasks to build confidence for both sides. Meaning, you do a low risk task. If they make a mistake, it's not going to be the end. You're going to check in with them. It's not going to be detrimental to the business. This way, it builds confidence for them and also for you, and being able to repeat the process and do it again. So, we want it to be a win win. So, the big idea here is let's figure out how, right? Let them figure out how, and they'll collaborate and speak with others as well. That's what you want them to do, but make sure they know what great looks like. So set that expectation, just like the examples that I gave you. So I always add each week a pro thinking tip, something that is at a pro level to share with you. If your team is never ready, if that's your way of thinking, well, they're not ready to do that. Or maybe there's something, no, they're not ready to do that yet. Maybe it's because you never let them try. So delegation isn't a leap. It's not this huge, massive leap that you're taking. Think about it as building reps over and over again. It really is a different way of looking at it. So I always give you an action step to take. So for this week, the action step is pick one reoccurring task this week, something that has to be done all the time. Delegate it and schedule check-ins. Schedule 2 check-ins with that person. It'd be great if you dropped it in the comments or, wrote it down for yourself. Write it down now so that you know, and stick with this for 2 weeks. Be consistent and make sure that you're checking in with the team, with whoever you're handing this off to. Let the team own it, because you will be amazed how quickly you go from being that go-to person to now you're actually guiding them. And I just want to give you a little bit of words of encouragement here. If you're the only one that can do it, the thing is you're always going to be doing it. That's important to remember, because we definitely can get frustrated from time to time. And this is a very giving group. So please share this with another shop owner, tag someone that you know that you feel that this would be a value of. Share the live with them. So that's it for this week's Auto Shop Success in 15 minutes. I'm glad that you're here. I know some of you will watch this on the replay. If you have any comments, some questions, whether you're live or you watch it on the replay, put it in. I will respond to all of them. So thanks for being here, and have an enjoyable week.